Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing good as always. Quick little note before we get into this story. It's slipping into the minus territory here, so she's getting pretty cold outside. So there may be the sound of a heater in the background, try not to mind that. Anyways, this story is from Australia in 2013, so let's jump in, pull up a stump, and you know what to do. Thank you for watching. So it was a few days before New Year's Eve 2013. I decided to go camping with my friend, and I'm 26, or at the time I was, and he was 20. He's the real outdoorsy type, so he just loves to go camping. And I've never actually been camping before, so I don't know anything. He convinces me that it'll be fun, and we'll make friends at the campsite and all that stuff. So we're going on his Yamaha motorbike. I can ride, but I don't have a license or anything. I have to pack the bare minimum plus booze and weed, Kinda needed that for a camping trip here. He lives in Ballarat, so I take the train up there, and we ride down to Forest where we are staying. The campsite is Lake Elizabeth, if you know it. Not too many people were there on that day. There was like 2 couples and a dog, a Bogan family with children, and a family of Chinese people, I think. And I think, what the hell is this? I thought we were going to have a big New Year's Eve party. But he says, don't worry, I've been here before. Closer to New Year's Eve, all the younger people will arrive and it'll be great. But at this point, I kind of just want to go and find a place to stay in Lorne, but that'll be all booked out by now. So we stay for 2 days, and the next day will be New Year's Eve. So during those 2 days, the only other people to show up were a bunch of 20-year-olds. But they all turned out to be there on like a youth group type thing, and they're all the religious types, so all they do at night is have a barbecue, and they don't even drink or anything. At least we talked to them, and I got a few snags off of them. Yes, I'm aware of how Aussie this sounds, but whatever. Finally, my friend agrees that this place is actually kinda shit. So we pack up our stuff, and just in case, we tell the religious group to please save our spot in case more people come. We leave and decide to try our luck in Lorne anyway, and if we can't find anywhere there, we can always just come back to Forest. Spend a few hours in Lorne, absolutely nowhere, everywhere is completely booked up. We could try Apollo Bay, but it's already getting late-ish and it'll probably be full too. And we come back to Forest, and the campsite is absolutely full. The religious group have actually gone now, they're nowhere to be seen. So it's like 7 p.m. and we're trying to find a tiny place to squeeze in. But not even kidding, it's really full. We asked the Bogan family who was there when we got there and what the hell was up with all that. They tell us that they come up every year. It always gets full right before New Year's Eve apparently. So I'm pretty pissed at this point, and I'm like having a small breakdown to myself. My friend tells me that I just need to chill out and we'll camp somewhere illegally. It's no big deal. He says he does it all the time. I'm a bit of a pussy, but we have no other choice at this point. In between Forest and Lorne, there's some pretty dense forest, but there's no good road going through it, so you kind of have to go around and then go off the road. The good thing is his bike is built for off-road and on-road. So right around this time is when things start to get a little weird. We get maybe about 2 kilometers out into the bush when we find this clearing. We made sure that we knew what direction we were going on the compass. It's like 8:30 p.m. now, and it's daylight savings, so it doesn't really get dark until 9:30. We put up our tent and stuff, but we can't make a fire because it's Australia and it's dangerous. So we eat dinner, smoke some weed, and we go to bed a little while after that. I wake up at some point. I have no idea what time it is, and I don't know why I woke up until I hear it. Something is walking around the campsite, and it sounds big. There's also this kind of a weird smell, kind of like you'd smell like if meat has been in the sun for a while. I'm frozen in fear at this point, and I'm staring at the entrance of the tent. My friend is fast asleep. The thing brushes against the entrance of the tent, and it sounds like it's sniffing. And suddenly, I hear it leave. I'm frozen in my position for like 40 minutes before I wake my friend up and I tell him what happened. My friend looks angry but wakes up, and I tell him what happened, and he just dismisses it, calls me a pussy, and says that it's probably just a kangaroo or something. And I said, but what about that smell? And he said, you probably just shit your pants. I can't smell anything. Just go to sleep. I don't know. So the next day, it's New Year's Eve. The night before's incident is kind of semi-forgotten by this point, and I decided that it actually was just a kangaroo that kind of rolled in something dead or something, like it had been kind of mulling around somewheres. My friend says that by now there's no chance of us to find any other accommodations, so we should just stay there again that night, but during the day, let's go to the beach. We're getting the motorbike ready when this random guy walks into the clearing. I nearly shit myself because I thought it was like a forest protection guy, but he wasn't wearing the uniform. He introduces himself as Jack and says that he's been camping out here legally too, and can't believe he found other people. He says he heard the motorbike last night and came and checked this morning, and his camp was just a little over 300 meters away. We talked to him for a while, and he actually seems like a pretty alright guy. So while we're talking to him, he asked us how we met each other. It's actually a funny story because we met when we found that we were dating the same girl, and instead of fighting each other for the two-timing girl, we just ended up becoming good mates instead. He laughs. We tell him that we're going to the beach for the day and that we're coming back, but he probably won't find the same spot, so I guess this is goodbye. He says, I wouldn't be so sure of that. Humans have an excellent sense of direction when they need it. Something about that statement just really creeped me out. It was just the way he said humans and not our. We go to the beach for the day and meet some chicks, but there's not really relevant for the story. We end up coming back around 4 p.m. and then we go off the road once again. We make it a little way in and find a clearing, and my friend says that this is the exact same clearing we were at before, but it definitely wasn't. The other clearing had a tree stump on the side and this one doesn't. And my friend says there wasn't a tree stump on the other one, and then suddenly Jack just appears out of nowhere again. And he actually agrees with me and says this actually isn't the same clearing, but it's nearby. And his camp is pretty close to us now, and that he just knew we were here because he could hear a sound just through the trees. So my friend is just chilling, talking to Jack about camping stuff, and I tell them that I have to go to the toilet. I'm walking into the woods and I decide to try and find Jack's campsite. He wasn't lying about it being close. I stumbled upon it after like 100 meters or so. And to be honest, it was super messy. There were pots and pans and shit lying all over the place. The tent zipper was half down, which any camper would know not to do because bugs get in. And I noticed that there's no car or bike or anything, but I just draw the conclusion that he's probably a hiker or something. Now suddenly I noticed that that same smell, like the smell of weird dried meat, is the same smell that I noticed the night before, and it's back here. I start getting this like kind of instinctual fear, and I start backing away the same way I came. And then I hear this screech come from somewhere in the distance ahead of me, like no other animal or human sound I've ever heard. I hear it again, and it's closer, and I'm so friggin' scared that I just sprint towards the camp. I hear a voice somewhere to the right of me. Hey kid, hold up, I heard it too. It's Jack's voice, but I'm too scared. I don't stop, I just keep running. I burst into the clearing and see my friend. I'm really upset, so he knows I'm not just making shit up, and he listens to my story. He tells me that Jack told him that he was leaving and that he had gone back the way to his campsite about 10 minutes ago. I say that's impossible because I saw the campsite and it was all messy and stuff, and Jack wasn't there, and I heard him in the woods. The friend says Jack was probably in the middle of packing up and went for a piss or something when I was at his camp, and then I definitely imagined his voice in the woods, and the screech was probably just like some animal being taken at by a kangaroo or something. Who knows, really? It could be anything. Remember, it is Australia. And he calms me down a little bit and then just says, look, why don't we go check his campsite together? And I definitely don't want to go back there, but after some convincing, I do lead the way. I get to Jack's clearing and everything is gone. My friend smirks at me and says that he has to go piss and to wait there because he doesn't know the way back. He disappears into the bushes. This is normal for him. He hates pissing in front of other people. Suddenly I see this flash of white I hadn't noticed before, and I look up and it's like a ripped t-shirt hanging from a tree branch. It has blood on it. I start freaking out and yell for my friend, and all I hear is that screech again. I sprint and somehow ended up going a different direction to the campsite, so I stop at about 200 meters, otherwise I'll get lost. I'm panting, and I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes before I hear this weird kinda high-pitched sound. It becomes clearer, and I realize it's my friend's voice calling my name, and I'm just thinking, oh, thank God. I call out to him, and we each find each other through the sound of our voices. I say to him, did you hear that friggin' screech? It's the same one I heard earlier at Jack's camp. And he says, yeah, I did, man. Weird, right? Do you know the way our camp is from here? And I say I know the general direction, and we end up back at the camp. I tell him about the white shirt, and he agrees that it's super creepy. And he says, well, at least Jack is gone now, so we can spend the night here. And I get that instinctual feeling again, like I had at Jack's camp. I say, nah, man, we should definitely get out of here. This place is really starting to creep me out. And my friend suddenly gets irrationally angry. He says, what the hell, man? I can't believe you're going to back out of something just because you think it's a bad situation. Remember when we first met and that girl was playing with both of us, but instead of fighting each other, we just kind of turned that bad situation around and became friends. And I think this is a weird thing to say. It doesn't really fit into the context of what was going on, you know? And I say, no, I really think we should leave. We hardly have any food or water left as well. Why don't we just go back out to Ballarat and hang with Jesse and them? And he finally agrees. Before we go, can you just come with me into the woods for a sec? I need to piss again. That screech scared the hell out of me. I kind of follow him a few steps until my brain clicks, and I remember that my friend is the kind of guy who needs privacy when he pisses, even if he's scared. And I say, nah, man, just hold it in. I don't want to go anywhere out in these woods. He reluctantly agrees, and we pack up the tent. It's mostly me doing all the work while he's just sitting there watching me, which is weird because it's his stuff and he's really protective over his camping gear. I pack the saddlebag for the bike and wait for him to get on. He gives me the weird look. He says, can't you ride this time? I'm feeling really weird now. I tell him he knows I can ride, but I don't have my license. And he just says, I'm really tired. Can you ride today? We'll be fine. I agree and just want to get the hell out of there. He gets on behind me and puts his hands tightly around my waist, which he knows you don't do because we have a back plate. I make sure to keep an eye on the compass, and after a while we get into the road. And after about an hour, I pull over because we'll be getting onto the highway soon. I tell him we need to switch in case I get pulled over. He gets on but asks where we're going, and I'm thinking, I can't believe this, we're going back to his house. I end up having to direct him back. I knew something seriously weird was going down with him, and he also knew that I knew, because what kind of person forgets where they live? Basically, after we got back to his house, I just left because I couldn't stand to be in the same room as him anymore. But on the trip, things kind of clicked together in my brain, like he only knew things after I said them, and he only knew about how we met because he told Jack, and I feel like Jack is definitely involved in this somehow. He's also been really different since that camping trip. Like, he's had this dog, which he's had for 12 years, and he loves that dog. Like it's his best friend, and when we get to his house, he didn't even greet it or pat it. Seriously, just not right for him at all. And also, he's like a really social guy, but after our trip, he just didn't go out on New Year's at all. And when I was leaving the house, he didn't try and convince me to stay or anything, and my real friend would have. But whoever it is now, it knew at that point that I knew that something was going on. And he's tried texting me since then, but they're all full of spelling errors and stuff. It's just really weird. At this point, I don't even reply because it just pisses me off, and I even deleted some of them because they just make me upset going through our old conversations. Some of my other friends have actually gone to his house after this, and they say that it's just kind of messy now. They said it kind of smells, but like it's not uncommon for like a possum to die in the ceiling or something, which is what he said has happened. And yeah, that's really pretty much it. My friend told me that he asked about me and like a few times, but I haven't spoken to him since all this happened. So I think that guy's friend's probably dead, just saying. Or out there in the woods somewhere, it's really hard to say. But let me know what you thought of the story. Did you think that it's like a series of miscommunications and stuff? And in the moment of being scared, this is what he thought was going on? Was their relationship not as good as he may have described? Was the whole thing made up? Did his friend get eaten by a skinwalker? Let me know what you think down in the comments. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can like and subscribe and all that good stuff. This story is from 2013, like I said. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. And thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers. I never thought when I started doing this stuff, like this channel, that it would ever get past 1,000, but here we are. It's been insane, and I want to thank you all for continually liking the video, watching the video, and commenting on this stuff. It's really helps me want to keep making the videos and kind of keeps me motivated. So yeah, just wanted to thank you all for that. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. I hope you're staying cool or warm or whatever, wherever you are. But yeah, I'll catch you later.